Yep, we're good. Okay. Good evening. This is the work session of May 12th. The time is 6:04. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Brescher.
Here.
Councilmember Coyle.
Here.
Councilmember Harris.
Here.
Councilmember Patel. Councilmember Patil.
Here.
Councilmember Pointer.
Present.
Councilmember Shmuel.
Here.
Okay, Madam Clerk, adequate notice.
Adequate notice of this meeting as required by the Open Public Meeting Act of 1975 has been provided by the annual notice sent to the Home News Tribune, Desi Talk, News India Times on November 18th, 2024, and posted main lobby municipal complex on that same date.
Thank you. Number 4, review of the minutes for the work session of April 28th and regular meeting of April 30th. Any comments? Okay, seeing none, we move on to the 2025 calendar year municipal budget and solid waste budget. We have added item C to this. We have A, B, and now we've added C, which is an amendment to the 2025 municipal budget. I think all of you, of my council colleagues, have received that. So we move now to council comments on A, B, or C.
Council President?
Yes, Council
On
Vice
on
President.
C, just so that's on the record, can the administration just give an explanation as to why we need to do this adjustment?
Every year, we have to submit our budget to the Division of Local Government Services for their review. And the person reviewing the budget did not accept 2 items of revenue that we had anticipated in the budget and requires us to go through a different process for using those funds. In essence, it's tantamount to taking 50 cents out of your right pocket and putting 50 cents into your left pocket, because at the end of the day, you end up with 50 cents. So what we have to do is omit those 2 items of revenue from the budget, increase the amount of surplus we're going to use, and then those 2 items of revenue will go right back into surplus.
Thank you, Council President.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
Is for this section here, is the mayor going to do a video on this one too?
Not to my knowledge, sir.
Okay. Not on the amendment, right? And not on the budget.
I have not heard. I
So
have
just
not
the
heard
budget,
anything.
all that we're going to see is a video. We're going to make history here. This is how he makes Edison great again. I'll talk about the budget and my remarks for Council President during my discussion items.
Okay. Anyone else? None? Okay. Seeing none, and we move on to unfinished business and any council comments. We have 2 ordinances. Any comments about 2249?
Council President,
Yes.
2249. Could someone just explain whether it's council member or business administrator, the necessity of this, please? I just want to know a little bit more about this ordinance.
Go ahead. Sonia? Yeah. No, yes, please.
I'll take it.
Oh, okay.
Councilman, this is a property that was granted approval by one of your land use agencies with one of the conditions of that approval that they agree to a conservation easement over a portion of the property. The local lands and buildings law requires that anytime there's any interest in property dedicated to the municipality, like a conservation easement, has to be approved through the formal ordinance process. The conservation easement will prohibit any building in the conservation area other than for natural purposes, streams, making sure that the property is taken care of and won't be further developed.
And that would be under the auspice of the
It'll be a
developer.
recorded document at the Middlesex County Clerk's office, so the entire world will be put on notice that if anyone wanted to do anything in that area, it's prohibited, other than for conservation and open space purposes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I would add to that, that what we're talking about here is a 20,000-year-old glacial pond, and that has been the home to a lot of wildlife, blue herons, and egrets and all kinds of wildlife. And there was some talk that developers wanted to fill in the pond, and this will ensure that that doesn't happen.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Council President?
Yes.
Just, because I was taking this as like a superficial type of thing. Is there, to the attorney, does the state of New Jersey normally ever allow someone to fill in a pond? Like, I know we have to stay 50 feet away from streams and, like we have so many protections out there. Are you telling me in the state of New Jersey? Because if that's true, then I guess I'd like to be more involved environmentally. If you're telling me that our government would allow the filling in of streams or ponds and things of that nature.
Councilman, the Department of Environmental Protection has pretty strict rules, but there are exceptions to those rules, where sometimes the state will permit you to take areas that are in wetlands or wetlands buffers and develop them, provided you give replacement lands somewhere else. And depending on the quality of the wetlands, the replacement properties can be on a one-to-one basis. If it's a superior quality wetland, they go up to 10-to-1. So there are procedures. It's not ironclad. I will say that it's rare, but the procedures do exist.
Then this here would make it ironclad.
This will prohibit any development from taking place in the conservation area.
Ironclad.
To the extent that anything can be determined to be ironclad, yes. If someone attempted to develop that, it would violate the terms of the conservation easement and would be subject to an order from a Superior Court judge that the conservation easement had been violated.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else on
Council
2249?
President?
Yes.
Yeah, this is a historical site, and you know this better than anyone here. There was the moment once upon a time, many signs were there, save Lucille Pond. My only the question here is, did we subdivide this property and taking this particular portion? I'm referring to Lucille Pond.
So my understanding is that before that subdivision happens, the conservation easement would need to occur.
Good. Thank you. I'm happy to support this ordinance.
Anyone else? Okay. 2250, I'm going to ask the attorney to address.
If I may, Council
yes.
President. So ordinance 2250-2025 has an error in it that will require that it be amended and reintroduced. The error can be found in section 2-33.2, subsection FC. If you're looking at your copy of the ordinance, it is on the bottom of page 3. There is a section while the amendments are correct, there is a section within the parentheses that says weighted 1/3 each, and it's shown as a strikeout. That is in fact incorrect. They will still be weighted 1/3 each. As a result of that, that's a substantive change which will require that the ordinance be reintroduced with that language back in. I would suggest to you that it get reintroduced at your public meeting Wednesday night, and the public hearing, publication and public hearing should be put off to your next meeting, provided that there is sufficient amount of time for the publication. I believe your next meeting is May 28th, which should be okay. It's a small change, but it's a substantive change.
Thank you. Any questions about that? Okay. All right, we move on to number 7 from the Business Administrator, A. Okay. Number 8, Department of Finance, A through C. Okay. Number 9, from the Department of Planning and Engineering, A through I.
Council President,
Yes.
F and G, are those amounts for work to be completed in this fiscal year? The paving and the curbing.
Yes.
So this will be spent in 2025?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else, A through I? Okay. Number 10, from the Department of Public Works, A through E. Oh, okay. Number 11, Department of Recreation, A. All right. 12, from the Chief of Fire, A. Oh, okay. 13, from the Township Clerk, we are going to be adding to the agenda B, resolution authorizing permit fee waiver to Edison Elks for their pool. So we have A and B. Questions, comments? Okay. Wow, we're already at number 14, oral petitions and remarks. Looking for people? Anyone? Yes, yes. Okay, yes, go ahead. Name and address, please.
Good evening. My name's Gloria Dittman, Midland Road, Edison.
Thank you.
I have a couple of items that I'd like to discuss. Do we have the status of the light at Calvert and Grove Avenue? We know where that is.
All right, let me take one question. Let me take all the questions at once, and then I'll answer.
Okay.
Okay.
I also would like to know if the substation at Oak Tree Road is manned. It doesn't look like there's too much activity going on there. And Edison's celebration for America's 250 years. I was wondering if Edison is planning anything. It's a pretty special event.
That's June 14th, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. 250 is.
And lastly, I would like to tell everyone about a wonderful organization that was founded and is in New Jersey, and it's called Homes for Veterans. I think everyone is aware of how much I respect and honor our veterans. And this organization will, if veterans need some alterations to their home, maybe a widening of a doorway or a ramp, they can do it, and there is no charge to the veteran. So I don't know if it's allowed. Can I give out their phone number?
Any reason why not? Okay, sure.
Yes?
Please.
Okay, the phone number is, if anyone is interested. I've dealt with them, and they are very, very nice, very accommodating, and they do want to make you happy. The number is 201-660-8364.
Thank you, Gloria. Any other questions?
That's it.
Okay. All right, so let's start with what the status of Grove and Calvert is.
Sure. So we did hear from the residents, and the residents Just generally speaking, they would not be okay with a light. It is under engineering and traffic. I will follow up tomorrow with regard to the status of if there are other alternate plans to mitigate any issues within that intersection. But as far as I'm concerned, I do not believe a light would be something that the residents would be okay with. As far as the substation, it is still manned.
Okay.
I think that's all I had.
And then the question about, is there any plan for a 250th birthday celebration on June 14th or around June 14th?
I'll check with the administration.
Okay, thank you. Okay?
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Gloria. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, council members. This is Sagarika, committee woman for District 44. I'm here to bring up one violation for my fellow resident, Alok, and he has received conflicting information regarding the violation for grandfathered bamboo with no conclusive evidence. And I request that the council eliminate this violation and amend to the ordinance the explicit state on the grandfathered bamboo. And there have been email exchanges on what the proposed changes are, and I would like to understand what are the timelines for the changes or amendments in the ordinance, and when can it be done?
Okay, any other questions?
Yes, and I would also have, the second topic that I have is that we as a District 44 residents for Parker and Utica, we conducted a resident survey, showed that strong support for adding 2 speed bumps to on the Parker Road is really, really necessary, and I respectfully request the council to accept this proposal or guide us on what are the next steps and how can we turn it into formal ordinance.
Okay, any other questions?
No, thank you.
Okay, all right. I'm going to refer to council on your question about the bamboo violation.
Thank you, Council President. So the Director of Law has already responded to the homeowner regarding his resident's complaint several times, the most recent of which says essentially that if and when a summons is issued, which we don't know that it will be or it won't be, the resident's position and issues regarding the way that the process has played out would be subject to the municipal court hearing process. Now, I realize that that might not be a satisfactory answer to those who are concerned, but that's the way that the law works when you have a local ordinance and there is an alleged violation. Council is a legislative body. It is not a judicial body. The ordinance is a local legislation, local law that is enforced in accordance with its terms. If there are defenses to that, that is up to the judicial body to make that determination, not this council.
And respectfully, who would that be so we can further pursue this matter?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
Like,
So
when
as
you-
of right now, let me try
Sure.
again. As of right now, this is all a hypothetical situation. No summons has been issued to the best of my knowledge. If a summons were to be issued, then it would fall within the jurisdiction of the Edison Municipal Court, unless for some reason the Edison Municipal Court decided to send it to another municipality's municipal court for a determination whether or not the defenses which the resident has alleged are valid and he should be found not to have violated the terms of the ordinance, whatever his defenses may be, or whether they are valid and the terms contained within the ordinance would need to be imposed. As a general rule, property maintenance issues most of the time, any property maintenance issue, not necessarily related to the bamboo ordinance, the municipality and its municipal court are looking for compliance, not looking to impose penalties. They just want to make sure that everybody plays by the same rules. And if there is determined to be an issue that needs to be addressed, it would be up to the court as to how that issue got addressed. But generally, we're looking for compliance. On a bamboo issue, whether it's the result of miscommunication or somebody else did it, or whatever the issues may be, that comes within the jurisdiction of the municipal court judge.
Okay.
It's
Yes.
best I can give you.
Yeah, ma'am. yes,
Thank you.
Your time is up, but we'll answer your second question, which was about the request about a speed bump on Parker. My understanding has been that we are frowning upon speed bumps at this point, but I don't want to speak, I'm not the expert in this. So, Sonia?
Yes, you're correct in the sense that it poses more of a safety hazard than anything. But certainly, we'll take a look at that area to see if perhaps our traffic division or engineer could take a look at that.
Yes, ma'am, and I also have
No,
the
I'm sorry,
survey.
ma'am, your speaking time is up. I'm sorry. You can speak to any of us offline, but you had your 4 minutes. Your 4 minutes is
Thank you.
up. Thank you. Okay. Yes, Mr. Sood.
Good evening, council members, and thank you, Committee Woman Kariwala. So again, I mean, in addition to the emails, again, we are hearing conflicting answers now. So the council just said that I should receive summons, but I received a certified letter stating that township's gonna come within 45 days and they're gonna remove it. So I don't know where are we standing? And the other thing, what he mentioned, that I received multiple responses. I received vague responses. I clearly asked 4 or 5 questions. No one responded to those questions. And those are the inconsistencies we have been talking about. I clearly pointed out, council, you said on the video here that I am not in any violations. I should not have received violations. And now I sent that video, I clearly asked, and Lou did not address it. He just ignored it. Then I pointed out what Vice President Pointer said. I mentioned everything which was in writing. Again, he did not respond. He deflected all questions. So that's the first thing. And then the summons thing also, I don't know what we are talking about then. I did not receive any summons, but I received a letter saying they're gonna come in and remove everything within 45 days, and then they're gonna charge me for it. So you did not answer that. Then the second thing, I like to continue what she said about speeding. So we'll talk about, if you can help with that. We have a speeding issue on Parker. Another third thing I want to bring up is we talked about in the past as well. I came in the past, some of my other neighbors came in the past as well. It's about the garbage tax. So we, Zone 44, we have the township garbage, and we are paying that tax. And it's based on the assessment of the house, which is not fair to us, right? If someone has a bigger house, our assessment is higher, does not mean they're using the utility more. I can tell you personally, I just use the garbage like maybe 3 times a month, and that too, it's just half full. We try to recycle as much as we can. So if private garbage parties, they are charging $250 a year, why are we paying close to $1,000 a year? So we met with the mayor as well, and he suggested we bring it to the council, and the council can help with it. They can either do a flat rate for us for the garbage districts where it's a flat rate across the board, and or maybe you have some other options where it's not assessed based on the property size. Maybe there's some other way to do it. So at least be fair to all the residents. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Once again, council, any further remarks about the bamboo and his questions about summons and violations and all that?
Thank you, Council President. I don't have anything further to say. The Director of Law made it pretty clear in his most recent correspondence to you that
Do you want me to read that email to you, sir? He deflected every question. He vaguely said that whatever is being told to you is correct, and that's it. He did not answer my specific questions. If that's true, can you please ask him to respond to my questions?
with all due respect, sir, I am not going to debate the issue with you here when the proper forum for your questions, if a summons is issued, or if you get a notice that the township will take those actions prior to you having the opportunity to have a municipal court judge hear the issues, that is the proper time for it. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the director of law is wrong. I
So
understand.
were you wrong when you told me that I'm not in any violations, and it's on video?
I've tried to give you the
You were here
courtesy.
that day, right? You heard him.
Thank you, Council President. I don't have anything further.
So if he cannot help, I'll appreciate if someone else in the council can help with those things. Because this is getting out of control.
Okay,
I
I'm sorry,
have
sir,
multiple-
your time is up. Your
Okay.
speaking time is up. Thank you.
Council President?
Yes,
Yeah, I'm just going to comment.
you want to comment?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want the resident to know that I know if you were to read the emails that were sent to you, it makes it seem like you're crazy. All you were asking for was a way for you to articulate your side of the story. And they came back that you would receive a summons. Nowhere in the letter to you did it say that you would have a summons. The letter said if you didn't correct it in 45 days, I think it was, they would come in and remove it, which gave you absolutely zero due process. I believe the township was wrong in their wording of the letter. I understand your frustration because I would say Councilman Pointer and I think Councilman Batile, I think definitely in their responses, they understood, what you were articulating. I didn't hear that from anyone else. And I didn't hear it from the administration and our director of law. I'm not sure that he actually communicated it. He just told you a different process from the letter that you received. Where, very simply put, to me, the letter that you were sent was wrong. They should have just said, if you don't do it in 45 days, you'll get a summons. That tells you what the process is. I don't know, since this is new also, that the administration has had time to kind of go through the process of setting everything up. So that might change in the future. I did get your recommendations. Some of them I'm not even so much against, but that would take the rest of the council body to make those adjustments. Now, when you talk about the garbage tax, I 100% hear you. I believe taxes should be fair. I don't believe our garbage tax is fair. Okay, if you have a 5,000 square foot house, you're going to pay whatever it is, $1,100 a year. But I don't believe that just a flat base tax is correct either. If you have 7 people that live in your home and it's a 2,200 square foot house, 7 people create a lot more rubbish than 2 people. So it really should be by per person that's living in a home. I'm not sure how the township could codify that to figure out what that is in each home. But that's really how it should be, because when you do private garbage, it's up to you to decide how many pickups you want and how many cans you want. And that's all based upon what your need is, right? Like if you have 4 children and it's a mother and a father, you got 6 people, that's a lot of refuge that you're getting rid of. So yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to changing something, but I'd just like to make sure that it's a fair tax, not just a tax because you're wealthy that we're going to charge you more like a use tax type of thing. But again, that would be, I guess, the council body. We would have to do that, but we'd have to get direction from the administration also, because we have certain routes, I think. Like I know on my street, half my street is township and half my street is private. So there are going to need to be certain cutoff areas. That would be it. Thank you, Council President.
Council President?
Yes.
Yeah, I just want to, again, resident came here not once, not twice, probably 4 or 5 times on the same issue here. How do we go from here? The question is not to attorney, because I'm on the email thread. Every time there is an email chain, it's a different response. So what's the due process, Sonia, from here now onwards? He received a letter, we get it. Township has to issue the summons. I don't know, is Township going to issue summons, when, and what's the process that should happen there?
It's no different than what the attorney described. So there's a compliance, and there's a period in which we're asking for the resident to follow with the compliance aspect of it. I don't know where in terms of the days it is at this moment, but once it goes into the municipal court's jurisdiction, that even that part of compliance would need to go through the courts.
I understand that, but if you look at any typical letter that Township sends, nowhere it says, we'll come and we will remediate and charge you. They will say that this is the violation, is the first notice, second notice, and you get a summons, then the person has to go in a court and defend himself. Here, I think the process has been completely screwed up. He's threatened now that either you do it or we're going to do it and we're going to charge you. I don't know what that cost is going to be. But is there a process or the protocol that we can set up, say, hey, this is what we do for other violations. Can we follow that due process and let him explain in front of the judge? I'm pretty sure he will have the recording from this council dais, the email exchange and all that things. And I think, he can put up his case, and any other person who will go through the same process, but the process has to be consistent. We cannot go and say remediate. If that's the case, I'll give the 100 complaint. That's what I said last council meeting. Go and find those people and try remediating. I don't think that's an option that we should go there. So what I'm asking here is not to divert the conversation. What the residents is anticipating? Again, leave it aside how many days have happened after the letter has sent. What's the next step? Will he get a summons?
Again, I would go through the courts, and the courts would issue that decision. The administration has absolutely no jurisdiction or decision-making when it comes to that.
I get that. When do you think, because court will not come in their dream to give the summons. Administration will have to send something, or health department will
The
have to send it.
administration, let me be very clear, with all due respect, does not send any letters out. This is a strictly zoning issue.
Understand that.
So there's a specific, with regard to the resident, I would call the municipal court. I would actually ask them they have a public defender, they have a prosecutor there. The prosecutor especially could guide them in terms of what that step looks like.
So
And that goes across, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. That is for any kind of violation.
I would challenge that statement, your statement there. Unless there is a summons, the person is not going to come in a court. But what you're saying, resident has to call and say, are you going to give me the summons? This is strange. What I'm asking here is, if the health department is going to send a summons, or the zoning department going to send a summons that he can come in a court? That's my question is.
I believe I've answered your question in terms of the process, and the process is you should call the municipal court to ask about what the compliance looks like for him and when he would need to do that before a summons is issued. We don't have any jurisdiction over that now that he's been issued a letter.
But letter is issued by the zoning department, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Is the zoning department going to send a summons to him? That is my question. If you can't answer that, I'll be happy to go back to zoning officer and I'm going to ask that question to him. Will zoning officer or health department going to send summons to him? I don't think it's a fair that resident has to go and call the court and say, what's my next steps here? It's very strange.
No, it's not. It's how the municipal court works.
Really?
Yes, and across New Jersey, across the entire state.
Again, I will challenge that. Summons have been sent, then they go into court, not that, see, I'll give the example. If police stops me outside, they will give me the ticket. They will have the court, if I have to go in a court, and then I will go in a court. Someone has to tell me that I need to go in a court. What you are saying is, I need to call the court and ask them what's my next steps, which is ridiculous. But again, if you are circling around, I think, you have a choice to, sue this down. This is ridiculous.
Council President. We're going to let the attorney take another
Let me try again.
stab.
Council President.
Excuse me, let me.
He spoke 4 or 5 times.
Let me,
It's being redundant.
I'm giving
It's
our
absolutely
attorney-
redundant from the speaker.
Excuse me, I'm
But
giving
you
the
can.
attorney.
He's going to
Thank
say
you.
the same thing twice.
Thank you. Go ahead, Counsel.
Councilman, the answer to your question is, what should he do? If it was me, I would pick up the phone, call the person that sent the letter, ask if I could sit down with them, find out what it is that needs to be done in order to ensure compliance, or if that's not the way that the resident wanted to handle it, if they did not want to attempt to resolve the issue with the person that issued the letter, my guess is that would result in a summons being issued, and then we'd be in the judicial process. Right now, you're not in the judicial process. No summons has been issued.
Excuse me, you're out of order.
I'm trying to answer your question.
I got the answer.
Councilman. I understand. I'm not looking to debate with the resident, nor am I looking to
I don't want to
debate
debate,
with
but thank you for responding. The due process will happen, and the resident will get the
Yes,
summons. I
due
get it.
process
Thank you.
will happen.
Thank you.
Councilman Coyle.
Council President, I want to refer to our council members sometime in the near future. We have to amend this ordinance. First thing, in the 30 years I've been watching council meetings, I don't think we've ever had an ordinance where we enter the property and take action, either with a vendor or ourselves. So, I mean, in most cases, this would be a civil matter between the two backyards, fighting over a fence line or fighting over a tree growing on their property. They have the right to cut that part of it. And I think we should just look at this separately and have some discussions amongst each other, because it opens up a large door of liability. We claim that we're going to send the vendor to someone's backyard and hope they give them permission. There's not an issue with the owner, which can turn into a lot of turmoil. And second, we're open to all the liability of stepping on their property. We've never had this before. It's new. I think the ordinance made a lot of sense. I think council members who brought this to our attention, I definitely think bamboo is an issue. It spreads right across backyards. It's uncontrollable. But somewhere, somehow, if we made some amendments where whereas the township could issue a summons and a fine penalty to take action, then it would wind up in court. But the fact that we're sending a letter to make claims that we will enter their property or hire a vendor to take care and clean up the problem, I think it just opens up a lot of liability. So I'm just going to end it on that. And I want to answer another question he had, Council President, about the garbage. So that's one thing, another day I'd love to discuss with our council members, and if we did that and amended, this gentleman won't have to come for the 5th time. But, and I'm sorry for that, but it's the course of what we're learning, and thank you for being patient. You mentioned the garbage issue. I would disagree. I mean, it's no different than school tax. I mean, we impose a school tax whether you're a senior citizen with no kids. I have no kids in the school system. In fact, I don't think I ever had kids in our school system. My son went to private school. So every home has to pay school tax. So it would be no different, your garbage tax. How do you make an estimation? It's what we have in place today based on square footage. I can't determine whether you choose to live with your wife and one person in a 5,000 square foot home. I mean, this is your choice. In half the cases, people would have maybe 5 to 7 people living in such a big home. So you can't determine it on people count. We determine it on square footage. So it would be challenging. And second, if we were ever to turn it over to having that, it would have to be looked at by a study, because we'd have to open up to a certain district, whereas everybody would have to switch, which would be challenging. So I feel part of your pain and your question, but it wouldn't be based on square footage. And it's just, unfortunately, you can't base it on people. It's based on square footage today. So thank you.
Councilor President, I just want to ask a question to our attorney as far as the garbage tax goes. Does this council has a power to change private to public, public to private? Question to attorney.
If that's a question to me, the answer is any local legislation that is adopted is subject to amendment by the governing body, which must follow the same procedures as the originally adopted ordinance. You can change it. It's up to you. I'm not invested in this. If you are, as with any ordinance, except perhaps for bond ordinances, You can change them by subsequently enacted ordinances, like we're doing with the procedure for testing for firemen.
No, I understand that because we need to trace back, is there even an ordinance in place that dictates how the tax is calculated? Again, if that will be research for Sonia for you, because there is a long history to the private-public garbage discussion way back, 10 years we are talking. Again, earlier attorney has given a different answer, now I'm getting different answer, but do we have any ordinance? If there is an ordinance that shows, what is the baseline to calculate the taxes? I would like to see that.
You would like to know how we calculate the district?
No, the ordinance. The ordinance that dictates how the garbage tax is calculated.
Okay.
Because if there is an ordinance, then this body has a power. If there is no ordinance, then this body can't do anything. That's where I was going.
Understood. Okay.
Right. So if you can please fund, and it will take time, I get it, but this is a sensitive issue. Many people are keen, and to rebuttal Councilman Coyle's statement here, the school tax is across the board. The garbage tax is not across the board. It is few set of residents. It's a public and private, and that is where the debate is. Should we give the fair treatment like the school tax, library tax, or should we make everybody private and be competitive with the market, or public, everybody, and be competitive with the market? But we can take it offline. Just want to see if this body has a power to change it, and if at all, are those calculations are based maybe in 1970, back then maybe this is a different amount, and today probably we'll have to look at holistically, because the house price range right from $200,000 to upward to $5 million, and it would be unfair to tax based on that. But again, that's a long discussion. I would like to do the due diligence in terms of the ordinance to begin with.
Sure, sure. Just so I understand, you want to look to see if there's an ordinance, but also you understand this is a utility, there's a budget
Yes.
allotted, we have staff.
Yep.
So that would mean absolving the
Absolutely.
entire division?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep. Mhm.
thank you.
Council President,
Yes, Councilman Brescher.
as long as we're going to go down this, and we might as well really look into it, the people that are paying for their garbage pickup, right? They get recyclables through the township, and do they get their yearly spring cleanup, spring pickup? But they're not being charged a garbage tax, or they are? They're just being charged a little bit less. Here's my question to you. So we have 100 men that pick up garbage. We have 20 people that pick up recyclables, and we have 20 other guys that do the yearly pickup. It's all inside of our sanitation budget. It's not. Which one, what's not in it?
The only items in the sanitation budget are for the solid waste collection, recycling, bulk pickup, and so forth. That's in the Public Works Department budget.
And the disposal of it, too?
Correct.
So in DPW's budget, they have disposal costs in there,
Yes, there's
broken out
disposal
separately from
costs.
the sanitation.
There's disposal costs in sanitation for the sanitation district, for the trash that's collected. And then for bulk pickup and recycling, that's in the municipal budget.
So that's for all the residents, for example, so the recycling center over on New Durham?
Right.
That's offered to every resident, it's not district-centric.
Okay, so the sanitation is just strictly the picking up of the garbage cans weekly?
Correct.
Or twice a week? Okay, all right, thank you.
Council President,
Yes, Councilman Patel?
how many employees does the sanitation department have?
40.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anyone else?
Council President, I just strongly disagree. I think this is the wrong path to go down. It would eliminate jobs. People are counting on this income in their families. They're in a union. They have a pension. It just doesn't make sense to me. And again, the equalization is fair. We can look at different ways to assess it, but, you know, we also are here to employ people, not to eliminate positions.
All right, anyone else from the public? Joyce?
Joyce Ship Freeman, Joyce Ship Freeman, Edison, New Jersey. I remember before, and when we had a part-time mayor and a dynamite BA, that we didn't have to see movies. We got to come to an actual budget meeting. The town came, everybody was able to discuss it. And they would talk about the different things within the budget. And, you know, that way you'd be able to discuss it. Now, if you're putting on a movie or something, I think you're hiding a lot of stuff. A lot of people are not able, you know, they don't see the movies and the stuff that's going on. So a lot of them are going to miss out on the budget, which I do not think is fair for the people. And the reason why I don't think it's fair is because I asked a numerous amount of times, and people ask me, well, what's that extra $100 that we're going to pay? What's the extra $100 we're going to pay? And every time before I would speak, the guy kept telling me, oh, it's in litigation, it's in litigation. Yeah, it's in litigation until after the election, and then these people are going to be stuck paying extra $100 because their landlord is going to be assessed that for inspection, so people should know now. And another thing I have a problem with is, and this is why, you know, the Democrats is losing their base, this high utility bill will also come in. It'll be $100 extra for their rent, and then there'll be this enormous utility bill that'll come in for them. And then we have these high bonds that everybody keeps saying, oh, low interest, low interest. I don't care how low the interest is. You still got to pay it back. I don't care if it's 0.1, 0.2, 0.7. I don't care what it is. You have to pay it back. And I don't think it's fair at all to the residents that they've been fed this all this fake stuff that, oh, don't worry. We got the taxes, we got this stuff under control. I don't think that's fair. And I look back and forth, and I look at the people, and I look at the people in the audience back and forth, and I see the people that's actually running for office. They don't care. It's like a popularity contest when I was in middle school. You know, I'll just get there, okay? No idea about how the people don't really understand tax structure. They don't understand a lot of those things that are going on, all right? And most of the people, they're okay with the taxes because they make enormous salaries. And some of the people that make enormous salaries from this town, from our taxes, also get their education paid for. They get a whole bunch of stuff that we don't get. So they're okay with it. Yeah, of course, I'll support anybody that'll give me over $100,000. Yes, I'll stand up and support you because most everybody now is me-oriented. It's about me. It's about me. It's not about the people anymore. Nobody cares what a hardship they put on people because that's a hardship when the extra 100 come, when utility bills come, all this extra stuff that comes upon them and this extra tax and lifting the cap. And then we got the county tax, and then we got the state tax, and everybody. Guess what? And in Washington, D.C., they cutting everything and we still spending like we drunken sailors, and they're cutting everything. Does everybody not know they're cutting everything in D.C.? Do they not know? You don't even have to watch television every day to understand that. You know what I mean? It's a crying shame the way it's going. And last but not least, I spoke about it over 2 years, you know, well, anything about this craziness about you not having freedom of speech. This is what this council will be known for, taking away people's speech. But Henry James, who went to Vietnam in 1968, died by 1969, graduated from J.P. Stevens, I still can't get a street name after him. I've talked to all the different people. I was with his sister by Mother's Day, or the day before Mother's Day, gave her a nice rose, and I said, well, I'll ask the people again, I don't know why your brother's not worthy of getting a street after him. So, you know, that's who you guys are. You'll be known for it.
Anyone else from the public? Okay, can I get a motion to close the public portion?
A motion to close?
Second?
Seconded.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We move on to Council committees and board commission liaison reports. Start with you, Councilman Brescher. Anything?
None at this time.
Okay. Move on to you. I'll move on to you, Council Vice President.
Not at this time. Thank you.
Okay. All right, Councilman Patel.
For open space, we met at Fairmont Ave and Oak Tree on May 3rd with a few open space committee members. We discussed the possibilities of making that plot safer for kids and for the neighborhood to enjoy, and how to make it a third space for the surrounding neighborhoods to come and enjoy that space. We are going to have another meeting with the residents in June, and beginning of June sometimes. And yeah, that's it for me. Thank you, Council President.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Patil.
None at this time.
Councilman Shmuel.
Not at this time.
Okay. For myself, I've got the April the animal shelter report. We had 17 dogs, it's a lot, and 16 cats that were adopted. Currently, there are 14 cats and 14 dogs in the shelter. We have one pregnant, well, this is different. This says two different things. Currently, 14 dogs, 6 cats, 8 kittens, and 1 pregnant cat. To the Cultural Arts Commission, we met last Tuesday, May 5th. We discussed, there was a question about meeting virtually. There was one particular member who couldn't make it. She was out of town and wanted to attend virtually. And so a lot of time was spent on what the pros and cons of allowing someone to attend virtually. We are going to pick that up at our next meeting, which is not until July. Murals, we've gotten one address for a mural to be painted, which is 2090 Oak Tree Road. That's that's Oak Tree and Grove. It's where the 7-Eleven, the pizza place is, and there are 5 possible spots on Talmadge. PSE&G, the painting the boxes, I think this is something we need to bring back to Pat Coyle about getting the permission to paint. We need to get the numbers on those boxes to report back. The Jazz Festival, so we're kind of up in the air with that. It looks like it will be in September. It would probably be the 13th or the 20th. The 6th, on the 6th, the senior center was not available to us to use the pavilion. So we're looking at the 13th or 20th. We will be partnering with the recreation, which is, I think, going to be a very positive thing. We have made, I believe we've made application for licenses to do a 50-50 as a fundraiser. Our next meeting will be on July 8th. And those are my reports. We move on to points of light. Anyone with points of light? Okay, seeing none. I was pleased, along with Council Vice President, to be at the kickoff for the Police Unity Tour. This was on Friday. Unfortunately, the weather did not cooperate. They usually do a swing around all of the schools where the school kids come out and greet them, and then they stop at the 2 spots where the 2 fallen officers of Edison where they were slain, or where they died. And they weren't able to do the school tour part of it because of the weather, but they did do a stop at both of those points where Patrolman Dudash, the great-grandfather of our deputy chief, and of the patrolman Papiani, where they met their deaths. And so then they left Saturday, for which they had beautiful weather. I was there over at Franklin, at the Franklin Township Safety Department, which is where they partnered with Southern California. They had beautiful weather. I think they've had beautiful weather. I heard from Lieutenant Turner along the way. Seems like they made it fine. I believe they made it to DC today. So that's always a very, very special event. This coming Sunday, speaking of bikes, the Sunday the 18th is the Edison Metuchen Mayor's Bike Tour. It starts at 9 a.m. in front of the Edison Municipal Complex. I plan to take part, hoping that maybe some of my council colleagues will as well. And you can register for that if you'd like on the website. It's $10 to register, but it's really a great event. Saturday, May 24th is Memorial Day Parade. It's at Plainfield Avenue at 11 a.m. The Splash Park opens May 24th on weekends only through June 22nd. Starting June 26th, it will be open 7 days a week, hours 10:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m., and you'd make a reservation online through the Recreation Department. Lastly, there's been a meeting change for the June meeting. It's to June 12th, so that's a Thursday. It's going to be a combined meeting on June 12th, which is a Thursday. It's 2 days after the primary. And those would be my points of light. And we move on to...
Council President?
Yes.
One point of light. I just want to share that the mayor, administration, some council members were at the Housing Authority last week, and they announced a remodel there. I think this is a grand slam in affordable housing. The plans were to improve and remodel. This is, if you see the renderings, I'm sure they're posted online. I was impressed. I mean, it's been a long time since we've made some improvements there. The buildings are from the 60s. Billy Thomas was one of the speakers, and he did a great job. He one time lived there and grew up there, and he talked about on how all the families got together to help one another. I thought it was incredible, the stories that he had, and I'm looking forward to that improvement. I think that's an answer to a lot of members in this council about affordable housing. We're getting a lot of credits for that as well. So with our mandate from the courts, I think this will be a matching opportunity to challenge less building in Edison. So congratulations to the mayor and council and the administration. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Coyle. All right, moving on to discussion items. Take it away, Councilman Brescher.
The question about the road openings, this is from the prior meeting. The photos that I sent, they happen to be from Comcast. There's, I don't know, thousands of them throughout the town. What's the plan on taking care of the thousands of patches that aren't patched properly, by the way? I've noticed, I keep on talking about Mount Pleasant, right? Mount Pleasant is just one road, one of hundreds of roads. And, well, it's got potholes all over and it's brand new. What are we gonna do with that?
Council President, if I could have our township engineer speak to
Yes,
that?
please.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hello, Councilman. So I had my inspector driving around when he had downtime between other inspections for the past 2 months. We've made note of hundreds of locations, and as of I believe it was either Thursday or Friday last week, we emailed the list with the appropriate restoration detail to Pack Coil to reach out to Comcast so we can set something up to have them come out and address those locations. But you are correct, it's hundreds of locations that need to
Right.
get addressed.
Right, and you know, my concern is that there's some older roads, and I've seen them, but these are brand-new roads. You know, so when I go around town and you look at brand-new roads and government cut them up, it's what basically makes the public have no faith in government, you know? And it wasn't even done as per our spec, you know, about sealing the edges, which allows water to get in, which was happening, you know, all winter on Mount Pleasant.
So I will say that was a communication issue with Comcast. They were not reaching out to inform us when they were completing the work, so we were not going out to inspect and tell them what their restoration limits were. Now that we've been driving around for roughly 2 months, we're going to go back to Comcast and have those conversations.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
The next one I'm going to talk about is the budget. Yeah, and it goes just to making history here in Edison with the mayor and this council that I've been up here with for a couple years now. You know, where we've had issues in the town with the flag, stopping free speech, cutting the public's minutes off, and now we're doing budgets without allowing the public to come here and ask questions. I think it's wrong. I think it's wrong of this body to move forward with it. I think it's wrong of Council President to allow this to happen. Council President sent me an email in response that said she wanted to make sure everybody in the township gets paid. It was concerning because, what that said was Council President hasn't watched council meetings for years. The prior administration, they'd be passing a budget in September. So it's good that we're passing it now. Okay, that's a good thing. But to make something to give you a little good and do a lot of bad is wrong. Okay, and this one here, will be owned by Council President for allowing this to happen. Totally disappointed in her leadership on this. And that's all I'm going to say about the budget.
Councilman Brescher, I'd like to respond to that.
Yeah,
okay?
sure.
I actually had prepared something about this. And I do own it. I absolutely do. So what I wrote is, passing a budget is, in my opinion, the most important piece of work this council does all year. So much rides on a municipal budget, including funding of projects, public safety, infrastructure, and the like, not to mention our employees' livelihoods. There's been much noise over the past week about the fact that the mayor would not do a live budget presentation this year, which has included my being urged to remove the budget from the agenda until the mayor did such a presentation. I share the disappointment and anger over the way the mayor has handled the issue. I asked him repeatedly when we could expect the live presentation, but I was met with radio silence until last week when he informed me that he would be doing a video presentation. So while I was led to expect something substantial, perhaps at least 30 minutes long, what materialized instead was woefully inadequate, and I have minced no words in letting the mayor know exactly how I feel. Having said that, however, the live mayor's presentation is only recent in its history, starting with the Lanky administration. I personally think it's good practice, and I completely understand those of you who feel that yet something else previously given has been taken away. But frankly, any questions council members have can be more than competently answered by our BA, finance team, and department heads, the latter from whom our budget decisions are primarily made. Personally, I'm pleased with the 2025 budget. I find it to be fiscally responsible with the lowest tax increase in recent memory. Now, some of my colleagues may disagree, which is certainly their privilege, and they may vote accordingly. I would also point out that this budget has been unveiled at the earliest date in memory, for which I'm pleased. Therefore, for those urging me to remove the budget hearing and adoption from the agenda until the mayor does a live presentation, I will not do so. Holding this budget hostage for this reason would be irresponsible and would put our employees' income at risk, especially as we have already passed 2 temporary budget appropriations. I ask that my colleagues focus instead on voting this budget up or down based on its merits or lack thereof. Thank you.
Council President, I take that, and I'm telling you that I've found you to be one to talk the talk, but not walk the walk, okay? And this even goes to when I hear you speak about women, about how important it is to stand up for women, yet I've yet to see you stand up for women, except to talk the talk. So like I said earlier, totally disappointed in you not working something out with the mayor to do this budget and answer the public's questions. The final item that I'm going to talk about is we had what I called a theft here in Edison when the mayor took the police to Chicago. We're not even sure at this time, because of the elect reports, whether that was paid back. But here's my question, Council President, and this is to you, and I'm asking you not to talk the talk, but to walk the walk on this. The mayor now has our police officers out campaigning for him. Now, everybody has a right to campaign and support whoever they would like for elected office, and I do recognize that. There's a severe conflict of interest when an employee that's going to get paid by the public safety director, and his administration is the one that is watching over the funds. So how are we assured that this isn't another theft that's happening and that they're actually being paid? And I'm going to ask for you to get the records for everybody that has been campaigning for him, and for you to verify that these people were not getting paid to campaign. So I'm asking you to take care of it. I'm not looking to be involved in it, right? I'm a candidate, I'm running, but you should be watching out for the taxpayers. And we already had a theft that occurred. The mayor agreed that he had a theft, that's why he paid it back. So I'm asking you to do your due diligence now and walk the walk, and for you to verify it. And just tell me, you know, Councilman Brescher, I verified it myself, and their campaigning is on their own time, verified their paychecks, not that you got to print out like we did from the BA on the mayor, because that wasn't a paycheck, right? That was something that the administration put together. Therefore, that cannot be actually held, like that wouldn't even be accepted in court. That would be it. That would be like a last request. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Councilman Quayle?
Council President, just want to do some updates on communication. To the township engineer, I had a question, and it could go through the BA, but the paving of Amboy Avenue, do we have a date of when that's scheduled?
I do not have a hard and fast date for you right now, Councilman. We received RFPs for the design and for the resurfacing and construction of ADA curb ramps, along with some drainage improvements. We are looking to hopefully make a recommendation of one of the two companies who replied and get started from the estimated time frame of one of the companies was roughly 3.5 months to award of bid from when we give them the okay to go on the project.
And
So
what about our manholes?
it would be handled as part of that project.
I mean, we slowed this project down because the manholes were mysteriously sunk down. I mean, never in 30 years they have lifted, reset down. And now I feel like we're going into another issue of flooding, which is a huge project to tackle. And we're overlapping, paving and infrastructure of flooding, which is only on, 20-year rainstorms. So it's like, as much as I'd like to have all of it, I mean, it seems like you're going to push us into November to get, by default, your department's going to push it into November to get this paved.
So, Councilman, we are trying to combine all of the projects necessary to do it at one time, so we're not now going to reopen the road again within a couple years to address another problem. We're trying to do it all at once, so the road is paved and we're done.
Okay, I mean, we're lucky to get 3 years out of the paving anyway, but I'm going to leave it at that. I'll have an offline discussion with the administration. I validate what you're trying to accomplish. It just seems like that's going to be a forever opportunity, but let's see what your department does. I appreciate your time. Thanks. I just wanted to reflect on the budget and some comments from members of the council, Councilman Brescher. This is our budget. This budget was given from the mayor and the administration to us. It's our decision to ask for line items that may be of interest to your community. It's our decision to cut the budget. It's our decision to look through it, decide where other departments may need more of or less of. This is our budget. This is our presentation right now. And we have another meeting on Wednesday for public debate. Today is a work session. And anybody who had questions today could ask the same questions they could be asking the mayor, they'd be asking us right now, because it's our budget. Those who choose to vote on this council is voting for the budget as it is today, not wanting any changes. I spoke to each member of the council here that they are aware that they can ask for items in their community who they felt should be improved and where that may be. So from what I heard, they're satisfied with the budget so far. What happens between now and Wednesday, I don't have that answer. But it's not the mayor's budget, it's our budget to give back to him if we agree. And I will also, I don't appreciate the comments from Councilman Brescher. You know, our council presidents did a great job. This has been a turbulent year in this chamber here, and you've done a great job. And the fact that you're, imposed to get back to someone and lead the way, you can't force the mayor to do something he doesn't want to do. So I think you've done your best. I don't agree that the mayor needs to do a public presentation at all. I think Lenke was the first one to do it. So we had 8 years of presentations, and prior to that, for 35 years, I've watched council meetings. No mayor has ever done a presentation, and prior to that, no mayor has done a public presentation. Again, this is our budget. I think we should look at this carefully again, and if anyone wants to come here on Wednesday, we have a public portion open for those who choose to. So I just want to leave that in that space there. And while we're on communications, I just, and the mayor, there's no way that in this budget, or any budget we've had, the mayor is paying for police officers to be part of a campaign or being paid while they're volunteering at night. Okay? He has two different subjects here. Now he's starting to deflect from one to the other. You can't make it, I mean.
Councilman Brescher, you're out of order.
We all have appreciated, Captain Fresco and the work he's done in volunteering for the party. No one had a problem with that. He was a great worker, never got paid a penny to volunteer at night. Master Sergeant Tingle is on the police force, running for assembly, and I'm sure is volunteering in some capacity, and that's his business, what people choose to do on their part-time, what they do. And there's no way that I'm going to listen to an accusation that this police department is paying anybody to be involved in campaigning during an election. There is no way. It's never happened. It never will. So I just want to reemphasize that. It's an accusation. A lot comes out of.
Councilman Brescher, please.
Council President.
Excuse me, Councilman Coyle, are you done?
I'm not done. I still have the floor. If he wants to keep interrupting me, I'll just let him because.
No.
This is.
Finish. Councilman Brescher, you're out of order. Councilman Coyle, you can go on with your discussion points. I will allow you to respond when he's done, okay?
The facts are the facts, and he's well aware of the facts. I'm going to skip that and leave at financing where it is, and if any other member on the council wants to comment, they can. But again, this is our budget right now for us to choose to do. Again, all of us should keep in mind of future tax revenues. I'm not going to get onto that topic, but we always should look at ways of opportunities for this town to excel and bringing in other revenues. I know we have the rental opportunity coming our way, but that is not included in the taxes for this year. And if it does or doesn't happen, that's certainly something we should not be including today, and we are not. Economic development, I always talk about how important that is. I don't want to regurgitate all that, but I'm quite certain I have support of the council and the economic need of why we should have an economic developer and someone who keeps track of retail stores and certainly large grocery chains and makes sure we're recruiting people to come to Edison. Every time another vendor goes to a different town, I wonder what else we could have done to bring them here. So I'm excited. I know in this budget we have a line item for that, and I've also discussed that we'll have marketing in there, and I'm proud that the mayor and administration agree that this is important in the town. And lastly, I'm going to skip other items here, but last was the affordable housing. I mentioned in comments before, I was really pleased on the affordable housing project to improve at the Housing Authority. It was a great opportunity. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Councilman Brescher, you may respond.
Okay.
No? Okay. All right. Moving on to Councilman Patel.
I just wanted to state for the bike path, I met with Brian and he went over the rough draft, which I was very thankful. Thank you for all your hard work. I think it's a good start, and hopefully if we keep at it, we can develop this town into a bikeable community, which will be my dream. I also wanted to counteract what Councilman Brusher said. Council President, you're doing an amazing job, and this is not an easy job. There's a lot of moving pieces and a lot of accusations which are not frankly true. And at the end of the day, I think this budget is the council's responsibility, as what Councilman Coyle said. And if you don't like the budget, attack it on its merit. Don't attack on the sideshows and anything else. If there's something you don't like, attack that. We can all agree to it, maybe we can change it. But if there's nothing else in the budget that you are up against, I don't see a reason for you to attack it. And there could be accusation of what you're stating, that, you know, the mayor is running a campaign. You can make accusation that you're using this dais as a campaign opportunity as well. But again, that is accusations. That's not the truth. I believe you're doing everything you do in good intent, and I assume that the mayor is doing everything he does on good intent. So I hope you stop the accusations of the mayor attacking the mayor. You know, attacking on merit. If he's doing something wrong, attack him on that for the town. But I believe any accusations that are not proven is just campaigning. Thank you.
Council President?
Yes, Councilman Brusher.
Yeah, I've got a comment. It was an accusation, yes. The accusation was not for a campaign. That's why I asked Council President to get to the bottom of it. But since you would like to think that I'm doing it for a campaign, as I normally do, I will go and put the complaint into the Attorney General and ask them to look into this. Okay? I've found that it's fell on deaf ears. When you talk about merit, right, there's things about the budget. There's things that get sent in the mayor's campaign flyers or illuminator that he sends. When he says that he improved every park, that makes it sound like he actually made improvements. Yet I go to parks and I see a new sign. One new sign is a failure of a mayor to lie on his campaign literature. When I look at stuff where he says, I've lowered the taxes, he didn't lower the taxes. We went over this again and again. It's been the Board of Education and the county. Now, his tax increase, I personally don't find offensive. But when you mislead the public and you lie, and then when you ran on a campaign and you said you were going to do A, B, C, D, and E, and A, B, C, D, and E has not been done, and he puts out promises made, promises kept on a flyer that the taxpayers and us up here pay for, that I find offensive, yes. Because promises made, promises kept. You guys ran with him, so you should know the Oak Tree Pond was supposed to be done. It's not. The Stelton School, it's not. The brand new high school, it is not. Polanski Park, it is not. I can go on and on and on, but there was nothing that you three campaigned on with the mayor on those flyers that was done. Has he done other things? Yes, absolutely he has. And I don't, you know, I'm not discussing those things. I mean, yes, there were things done, but there hasn't been one thing. But nobody on this dais has a problem with the mayor lying to the public by saying promises made, promises kept. And I'll tell you what, if you'd like to disagree with me at the next meeting, I'll bring the flyers, and during my discussion item, I'll go through one by one by one by one. And then I'll ask every council member, especially the three that ran with him, to vote no. To vote no. But that's just what I have to say. So when you say talk about where he is on his merits, where the budget is on his merits, I don't have a problem with that. That I don't. But the mayor should come here to answer the questions to the public. And as far as, are the police being paid? I don't know. That's why I asked Council President to look into it. It's something that the people up on this dais should be looking into, okay? Because there's a conflict of interest when the person that's paying and authorizing is the person that's running. and you're actually going out there campaigning, handing out flowers and stuff to the public. So yeah, do I believe it could be another crime? Absolutely, it could be. But I asked Council President, so I wasn't doing it for political purposes. Thank you.
Council President,
Yes, Councilman Coyle?
I just have to respond on some comments. I had to go to the bathroom, but at the same time, I have to listen to the YouTube clip. Promises made, promises kept. For 8 years, I know, under the Lincoln administration, we didn't touch the Stelton building. 4 years into the Mayor Sam Joshi administration, we have a plan for the Stelton building, right? 4 years into our administration, we've improved 27 parks. I mean, the facts are the facts. What's happened in this administration, and it's been carried by other administrations to get to this point, but a lot has happened in Mayor Sam Joshi's administration and this council. A lot. You can't deny it. A lot has happened. Tree-lined parks, sidewalks with trees, improved parks, splash park, turf fields, Jets field. I mean, if you just add up the projects in themselves, nothing like that has happened in 30 years. So I have to disagree with my council colleague that promises made, promises kept. One thing I learned about the opposition is when you start a project, first they push to make sure you're going to start the project. Then when we finally do, and again, in the other administration, Stelton Junior said wasn't touched, and each year we asked about it. Now that we started, they want to know when it's going to be done. No different than they put the pressure on us for when the Jets field was going to be done, and we got it done. I mean, we're talking about a large improvement there. There's going to be some delays, but we got it done. So where there's an action, there's always a reaction. But the fact is, this administration, this council should be proud. I mean, we got a lot done. It's because of this council and our budget, what we approve in the purse. Joshi may have the idea, but we decide on whether the budget is spent or not. So congratulations to all you on the great things we've accomplished in this 4 years. Thank you.
Council President.
Okay, this will be the last word on this. Go ahead.
Unless other council people would like to speak, and then I can address all their concerns. But if they keep on, right, and I have a right to a rebuttal.
I'm giving you the floor.
Well, yes. So my council colleague next to me repeated promises made, promises kept. And then he went on to a whole bunch of other things that are actually some really good things. But not one of them was the original promise. That's the whole point. That's where a lie comes in. So it's a lie and a lie and a lie. I said to my council colleague across from me that there were good things done. I don't dispute that. I dispute the promises made, promises kept, and all the things that we did. When the council colleague next to me said that there were 27 parks that got improvements, okay, tomorrow I will do a video of the improvements to Polanski Park and what Joe Coyle considers an improvement. That would be it. Thank you.
Anything else, Councilman Patel?
Get started, Rich.
What I'll say is this. Promises were kept. There was competition to monopoly that we have now. You have an option to change your internet company, which was, I think, one of the biggest promises made and one of the biggest promises kept. We don't have a monopoly anymore. You can't deny that. We do have options. And you might say, oh, on the nuances that we don't have our own fiber network.
That's what
but
we said.
Again, the promises where we won't have a monopoly, which is the truth. If you find another way to bring that same promise, does not mean that promises is not kept. You can argue every nuances, but at the same time, you also agree that a lot of good things were done. And sometimes time is the biggest wherewithal you have. You cannot accomplish everything that you start in the 4 years. And maybe he should get another 4 to accomplish the rest. And he has started, and I think he will finish. But again, I think we're arguing something that we can't prove here, so there's no point. But the point is that if you want to attack the budget, attack the budget for all means. I don't necessarily agree that we need him here to answer any of the questions. If you have any questions, it will be answered very clearly, especially by Ken, who is essentially the budget. He knows everything inside and out. And I think he's the person that you want to ask any questions to in the first place.
Okay, all right, I'm going to move on to Councilman Patil.
Thank you, Council President. I have only one follow-up with Sonia. on the Brower Avenue, the last council meeting I mentioned, about the stop sign, the parking, and so many issues there.
Hello again. On Brower Ave, after the last council meeting, we had asked the DPW Roads Department to put a no outlet sign at the intersection with Amboy Avenue. I do have a question for you, though, Councilman. Where were you talking about a stop sign? Amboy Avenue side, or was it?
Amboy Avenue side.
Okay, I will clarify that with the Roads Department. Make sure we have a stop sign up there. When I took a quick look on Vialytics, last image shot on there showed a stop sign, so I was unclear where you wanted that.
Thank you. And there is no speed limit sign as well, because that's a very narrow street. When somebody taking a turn from Amboy Avenue, they are like 30 miles an hour, and they immediately see the stop, because there is nothing to, they cannot cross that. The problem is less of a residents, but more of a school bus drivers. They don't, because there is no speed limit there, right? So they just drive the way they think they could. So if you can put some 15 miles, because it's a residential neighborhood.
The slowest I can go is 25 I believe it's 25 mile an hour speed limit on Brower. We can post at 25. Anything below that would have to be changed by ordinance with a traffic study.
Right. But if you look at the linear distance, if you travel 25 miles an hour, you'll hit, in a minute, you'll hit the end.
I understand what you're saying, Councilman. However, 25 miles an hour is the lowest residential speed per the RSIS and general practices of traffic engineering. If you go below that on public street, there may be other issues. No matter what, though, it would have to be passed by ordinance.
Okay, so I'll look into that as well, and I'll work with council colleagues. The condition of the road, did we look at that? It's really bad. But
Yes. Brower is supposed to be paved this summer by the utility company. There was some back and forth between the developer at the end as well as the utility company, who both have work to be performed on that road. It is my understanding at this time that I believe it's Elizabethtown Gas, as they go and finish up the roads in the area that they need to restore, that they will be doing Brower Avenue as well this summer.
do we know for sure that this will be done this year?
I will double check their time frame. Last conversation I had was roughly a month ago, and I was under the impression it was this summer. I haven't gotten an update since.
Okay, if you can please follow up with them and let me know.
Will do.
Thank you, Council President. That's it.
Council Vice President.
Thank you, Council President. Actually, if I can ask a question to Brian again. I apologize. Getting the steps in today. Actually, speaking on Brower Avenue, just one call out, because I was on the planning board when that subdivision occurred.
Yes.
One of the conditions is that it's supposed to be paved curb to curb, not just halfway. So just something to keep an eye if you're not familiar with that already.
I was aware of that. That's where the overlap between the developer and the utility company was happening. Neither one of them were going, yes, let me be the one to pave it. So that being said, we are working on it, and it should be curb to curb the entire length.
I just know it's obviously been an issue that's been brought up about going halfway, so just wanted to call that out. I know you mentioned about the repaving aspect potentially of Amboy Avenue and working in with all the other potential projects. Do we have a timeline on those items? And the reason why I'm asking, we received about $1 million grant last year for Amboy Avenue rehabilitation, but I believe those funds had to be expended by the end of 2026. So I just want to make sure we're good on that.
So right now, say I give the go-ahead to the consultant Friday. They, according to the schedule they provide us, they would be able to complete bid documents in roughly 3.5 months. We'd be out to bid. Say it's on for another month. Worst case scenario is we start work in January, and we should be able to complete the work.
I guess I should rephrase. Is that work figured for like the drainage type items, or is that separate?
The resurfacing of Amboy doesn't need plans. It's the ADA ramps on the corners, especially since they are paver right now. They would need to be designed in concrete with the detectable warning surfaces and appropriate landing, and the restoration for the pavers that are disturbed. There are areas where the curb elevations need to be adjusted in order to promote drainage so you don't have ponding in random locations, as well as the potential for installation of new inlets and additional piping. So that would all be together.
I appreciate that. I'm not sure if this question would be more to you or to Kat, but the broadband hub that we received grant funding for, are you familiar with that, or would that be? Do we have a status update where we are with that? And I just want to specify, this is not in regards to municipal broadband in terms of offering services. We received a $2 million grant for essentially to fabricate hubs that would actually be the center point where the internet would, the broadband would actually come from. So I think it's good for us to have that regardless of if we offer any ISP type services. So I just wanted to see if there's an update on that.
I'm not familiar with that project. I'm going to defer to administration.
So anything that is grant funded, and if we do not use the funds, that we have to give back.
No, I understand. I think we should for this instance, because I view it in the sense of like radio communications, right? If our telephones go down, like EMS and our fire and police, like they can use radio communication then to actually still communicate, right? If our ISP provider goes down, we're kind of SOL on that. So if we have the hubs constructed as a backup, I think that long-term, it would be good for the township. So that's why I was asking.
Understood, except there was a very specific funding mechanism to start a utility, and in this case, it did not happen, so the funds would essentially probably go back over to the state.
Okay, I appreciate the explanation. Ordinances for consideration. I was a little upset. I got your response 2 weeks ago. Thank you, Brian, for that. I had asked for follow-up from legal and the administration on those adjustments to see if we're good to go, and I did not get a single response. So I'm just a little disappointed that that didn't happen, because I'm looking forward to trying to put that on the agenda for us. And then the other one, the environmental impact study. If I'm not going to get feedback from legal or the administration, I'm just going to put it up. I mean, it is what it is. Community involvement initiatives. I'm done with the questions. Thank you. So I have Capestro Park, which is being redone for the basketball courts. And it got me thinking of a potential art project where I've seen basketball courts that have had designs or paintings or art that are facilitated into the actual court design. So like for Capestro, because we're close to Amboy Avenue, Clara Barton neighborhood, like Clara Barton was the founder of the American Red Cross. So we can incorporate certain items like that into the court designs, in my opinion. To Councilman Brescher, with Polanski Park, whenever those courts get done, we could do something along like astronauts or the space shuttle, something like that to incorporate that. So I think that would be a nice little community project. And then finally, in regards to the budget presentation, I'm personally disappointed that there is no presentation that's occurring. I'm not saying that it has to happen, but personally, I'm disappointed because it was Mayor Lanke's presentation, specifically in 2016, that particularly got me interested into the finances of the township. I remember specifically asking him about our debt to revenue ratios, right? And that's actually one reason why I'm actually comfortable now, because of his explanation back in 2016. There were certainly things that I think that could have been added to the presentation that were not. For instance, there's a comment made about the repayment of our debt being done within 12 years. I think that there should have been a graph kind of showcasing that amortization schedule. And I do appreciate the administration providing me some of that additional background information, but this is stuff that I think that the residents would have appreciated. It also gives opportunity to have certain types of questions answered. As an example, you can ask, hey, why are revenues for recreation up from 1.6 to 1.9? Then we can explain, hey, well, in the ABC program, instead of just 1st through 5th grade, we now have kindergarten, right? There's more kids there. You can explain things, for instance, in regards to what we're expected to bond for, whether it's animal shelter expansion, archiving services, GIS mapping for stormwater, or fire department upgrades. These are all good things for the township that I think residents would appreciate, and I'm just disappointed that we didn't go that extra step. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Council Vice President. For myself, one note, we're adding to the agenda on Wednesday a resolution of recognition for the this Emergency Medical Workers Week, May 18th to 24th. So it'll be a resolution of recognition on Wednesday. Also wanted to announce just an update, Resident Advisory Committee. We now have, on this committee, we have Councilman Patil, who is chairing it, and we have Councilman Pointer and Councilman Shmuel, who will be on the committee. And from this point, I think now it's a matter of the formation of the committee, and my suggestion is, and you can, as chair, you can do as you wish with this, my suggestion is taking 2 residents from each side of town, from Clara, north and south, to be on this. And so if we're talking about a subcommittee, do we need a formal application for that from the residents?
Is it part of the larger subcommittees, Cheryl? It's by ordinance, right? So I would venture, I would say yes. You should do a volunteer
all right.
application.
All right, so let me just say then to the public that please feel free to go online and apply. And you want to apply for the Resident Advisory Committee and submit those applications if you do want to have a stronger voice in what goes on. I think this will help to really compress and synthesize some of the issues going on. I think this will be a healthy discussion to be had. And I look forward to Councilman Patil taking the helm for this. I asked about the animal shelter addition. Well, that actually was answered in the budget, in the budget, because, so the money, $250,000, I believe, put aside for what's going to be a welcoming center. Very much needed, because right now, the welcoming center is in the same crowded space where the lobby is, where Tina, the manager is, and it's really not conducive to these kinds of meet and greets. So I'm really pleased that there will be this addition. The New Jersey Green Amendment, there were the young ladies from J.P. Stevens, the freshman, who had presented this several meetings back, and I got a follow-up from them about what can happen next for this amendment, the New Jersey Green Amendment, to go forward.
I would defer to our township attorney with regard to if there's a resolution that you'd like to put forth in support. I think that would be your next steps.
That sounds right.
Okay.
So generally speaking, this is not, you're just adopting a resolution requesting the legislative bodies to know that you support the Green Amendment.
Yes. So can we get said resolution done?
I believe they had a sample.
I believe they did.
Yes, so if she could just provide you a sample and we'll just, doctor it up to Edison Township.
Okay. All right. What's that? Word document, okay. All right, Word doc, okay. Lastly, I had asked and I'd been promised several weeks ago by council, some kind of memo about the affordable housing situation. We had gotten a lot of pushback from residents about questioning this whole affordable housing thing and the delay in taking care of this whole thing. And I have yet to get such a memo. So can you please provide or have someone from the firm provide a memo that explains why this can be done this way?
I'll convey your request.
Thank you very much. That's it for me. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Council President,
Second.
That's fine.
Did you have,
the Councilman Schumal has some,
okay.
I had some, but.
Oh, no, no,
I'll save
okay.
it to- I'll save it to next meeting. Thank you,
okay.
Councilman.
No, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Then please.
It's okay. I'm going to speak to Brian offline, and then I'll relay the message to everybody.
All right, all right. We have a, did you second it? Okay, okay. All in favor?
aye.
What is she doing? Ordinance for this covered.
An ordinance for what?
The residential advisory. We don't have an ordinance for that. That's not on the books, that's just a sub
Right.
that you're for.
Right.
You can still use the application, I
Yeah.
guess, right? I mean, that's the attorney, but it's not by ordinance that we have that. I didn't want to interrupt.
do that. It's not by ordinance.
Right, there isn't, this is not done by ordinance.
You looking at me? I don't know.
They just did this committee, they just did it a couple weeks ago.
She didn't put it by ordinance.
She didn't put it by ordinance. If she's going to want to do it by ordinance. I don't really want to make more.
She's gonna do it that way, she has to. Yeah, Roger, what's up, babe?
Or if she's just gonna have it as a subcommittee. I gotta talk to her. All right. Nish.
Thank you.